I could have been rich, but I refused.
だが断る。
This is my favorite JoJo reference and it was perfect for this video. I want to start with a disclaimer. This video is just me sharing my personal story. This is just like what I think and how I feel about that topic, and I don't mean to judge anyone. I want to share with you my experience, and everyone is free to make their own decisions, right? Just because I think a certain way doesn't mean it's right. I really just want to share with you my story. So hi, I'm Chloe, and for those who don't know about my life and my story, I've been a model for more than 10 years. And I got many occasions to become rich. As in, I was often very close to rich or wealthy people. So I got many opportunities to enter those private circles where luxury is like normal. It's like easy. So how the hell a girl from France, a random girl, me, from a low to middle class income family got to be part of these top richest people of the planet? If you watch my video about why I quit modeling, you might know that models have opportunities. They have many opportunities to join model parties, model dinners, and hang out with people who have money, because usually we would be paid or invited in exchange of like food or in exchange of a post on social media to join parties for free, or being paid to attend those parties and pretend to, enjoy, pretend not to be a model. But obviously when you see a group of like 10 people, mostly girls, well dressed, with the makeup done and everything, and they kind of like all white.
Interesting.
You kind of know what's going on. At least that's how it is in Asia, because again, I was a model mostly in Asian countries, so I can only talk for the models or the modeling industry in Europe, but that's how it's like in Asia. If you see like 10 white girls all dressed up with the makeup done and everything, you can be sure that they're not like all best friends, or they're not like all sisters or something. They're definitely models, and they're definitely here either for the money or because it's free and they want to have a good time. And so there were clubs where of course there would be VIPs. And sometimes you would be paid to attend those VIPs, as in not like being escorts or anything, nothing shady like that. But if you made them buy more alcohol, so if you made them spend some money, like spend quite a lot of money, like the most expensive champagne, things like that, then you would get a commission. So you would be paid more during that night. So there were a few occasions where you would be able to join those VIP parties, and of course, if those are VIPs, usually they buy the VIP table, they're quite well off, they're quite rich. And most of the time it would be men, but not always, just remember that, not always men. Of course, if the guy liked you, then you could maybe become friends, hang out, have a relationship, whatever. So that's one thing. There were places where we would have model dinners, or just places where we would hang out, being paid to hang out, or just hang out for free. For example, in like theme parks like Disneyland, or like maybe parties on yachts during the day. So not like club parties or night parties, but more like a daily hangouts like during the day. And those were also like usually organized by wealthy people, because you have to convince like girls, models, to join a party on a boat or yacht or in Disneyland. I mean, you have to be someone from the circle, from the modeling circle, or someone that's like influential in the industry, right? So it would be someone either famous or someone that nobody knows, but everybody knows they're rich for some reason. Like sometimes we don't even know what those people are doing for a living, but we just know they have a lot of money because every time we meet them, they organize those huge parties and they just buy everything that the girls want and stuff. So we know they're rich basically. We just don't know everything about them, but we know. It's not like they're celebs, but they're rich, So this was another thing. Another opportunity to get close to those people was within the fashion industry, because of course fashion, high fashion, it's closely tied to luxury, it's linked to wealth. And so you would get to meet like celebrities or big designers or friends of designers that are quite rich. I've been working, for example, like as presenter, like kind of like showrooms, but for different types of things like products or jewelry or things like that. And so I would be invited to the designers' houses, and they will hold very private launching parties where you have to wear the products, like the clothing or the jewelry or whatever, and you have to show it to like a very, very private group of people, like a very close circle. And usually those will be the best buyers, the top buyers. They would be loaded with money, because if those are the top buyers, then they spend so much. And it's not like mainstream brands, like they're not here because they buy H&M or Zara, they're here because they buy thousands of dollars of expensive clothing or accessories or whatever. So I was also, in those very private events. I would get to be very close to those people. Of course, just hanging out with people who are rich or being close to people who are rich doesn't make you rich. I know. But of course, as a girl and as a model, I had many occasions to be more than just friends. And that's when, you kind of get the actually experience what it's like to have money and to be rich. For example, I had a friend, and that's a very interesting example because it's the case of a male friend. So a model guy friend who I met in China back then. And he told me that he was hanging out with this Chinese lady who was super rich. And basically, she would just pay for anything, and she would ask to see him again. They would go to karaoke together and hang out, and she would just pay him anything, like dinner or anything he wanted. And so he was very happy, and I think they kind of hang out for a while. I don't know if they dated, like I'm not sure it was that serious, but he told me that, he was really enjoying it and he was having fun and he liked that woman. But the way he talked about her, it was more like something fun for him. It was not like a serious relationship. It was more like a woman who likes me and has money and I'm happy about it. This kind of situation. So yeah, there were a few times where also I got hit on by rich guys. And I mean, for me, modeling was never about getting famous or getting money, because modeling doesn't really bring you a lot of money unless, you become very, very famous at a young age and everything. Otherwise, it's not much money. So I was never in for the money. I was more in for the experience and traveling and human connection and just being far away from my home, basically, in the beginning. I was never really interested in money. I wasn't saying no to paid drinks. I wasn't saying no to gifts if someone would give me something and there was nothing in, if they didn't ask me out or anything or ask me to do something for them, then I would just accept it. But there was a few times where like I realized after that it was kind of like a trap, because there was this guy, for example, in China, so quite like an old guy. And when I say old, I mean old, because Chinese old is like, I was like in my 20s, early 20s at the time. And you need to know that in Asia, like people look really younger than they really are. And so if that guy was like old to me, I think he was even older than what I thought. So he was probably in his 60s. And this guy was okay. Like, I mean, he was nice and polite. But then I understood quite fast that he kind of liked me. And he was trying to get to know me more and everything and texting me a lot. But we were not hanging out, The only times I would see that man was when I was going with my friends to parties. So he was hanging out with the same group of people, so eventually he would be here. But then at some point he got a bit too close, and I was like, if I keep going to these parties and keep meeting him by accident, then he would try something. So I was trying to keep a distance. But then one day he gave me a gift. So he gave me some Chanel gift, and I was like, that's nice, like that's kind, like thank you, I appreciate. But then I was like, if he gives me something, he shouldn't expect something in return. Like in my head it was very clear, you're responsible for your decision, you're giving money away to me, okay? So in my head it was very clear. I think after I accepted the gift, like a few days later, he thought that I got interested because I said yes to the gift. So for him, it was like, oh, we moved on to the next level, as in she accepted something from me, so maybe now she will accept me. But I simply rejected him. I mean, sorry, it's not funny, I'm sorry. But yeah, I was very clear that I wasn't interested. So I told him, and then I think he got a bit pissed off. And it wasn't rare to see girls hanging out with this type of men and sometimes even dating them, And I had a friend who, like, I won't tell her name because maybe she will watch this video. But I had a girlfriend who was in like multiple relationships at the same time because financially it was really worth it. Like she could get the money and then gift and then other gifts from different people, and she could kind of maintain the balance. And of course, I don't think the men knew. I don't think they knew, so I don't know if that was like morally okay, but it was financially interesting for her because maybe she needed money, right? It was okay for her. In Hong Kong, actually, I met so many rich people. For me, Hong Kong, it was the city of rich people. Like that's where I happened to meet almost all the rich people I know. Don't mean they all Chinese Hong Kongese. I just mean they were all in Hong Kong. They were all living there at some point. I don't know why, but that was like before COVID happened. So I think it was like the years 2018, 2019. It was the good Hong Kong era, and for some reason there were so many rich people there. And so now you might ask me, but Chloe, you're an attractive girl, you're a model, you're living the life, plus you're single. I was single. So why don't you just date those guys?
We all have problems, even me.
I tried. Let me explain. It's true that I got very close to some of those people to the point that I dated a few of them. I exactly dated 2 of them. But I think I met like 30 to 40 people who had like a lot of money, But I dated only 2 of them.
I'm so proud of myself.
If you ask me like how rich, I don't think I can tell you how rich they were because it's not things that rich people actually disclose. Sorry. But it's the type of rich that, they just say yes to everything. They can pay you everything. You want something, they give it to you. And then you don't really see them doing anything. Like you don't really see them working. They're always at parties. It seems like they're not doing anything, but they have a lot of money. And of course, I don't want to judge. So it might just be my feeling, my impression, like how I saw them at the time. Maybe it's wrong. Maybe they were actually working and I didn't know. But to me, back then, it felt like they were just not doing anything, but somehow they had tons of money that they could say yes to everything and always be spending lots on alcohol and food and taxis and stuff. It was almost always the type of rich that's like, even like 9 times out of 10, it was the type of rich that's not self-made, but that's like family rich. Like they had money because of their family, the family business, but not because they did anything themselves. You know what I mean? And so they would work for their family business, or they would do something else. Maybe they wouldn't work. I don't know. But it was not like self-made money. But yeah, there were only 2 times when I dated rich guys, and that's because it was hard for me to date anyone who's like rich but not attractive. I mean, it's true. Like, it was hard to find someone who has a lot of money and is not like... I know that if you ask someone in the modeling industry, they will tell you the same. It was hard to find someone who has tons of money and is also attractive. Like, honestly. And I don't really have like super high standards. But you need to think about it. We are models. we hang out with models, we have model friends, girls, guys, anyways. So we can, date people who are super attractive, super good looking and everything. Why would we choose someone who's like average or someone who's bad looking? Like why? We have super good looking people, near us already. We work with them, we see them every day. So why? Why? The few handsome people that I found attractive and that had also a lot of money, they were often not looking for something serious. They were just having fun. And they had the bad reputation of going from one girl to another girl. So this for me was a big red flag. Because for me, if I want to have fun, then I pick someone who's handsome, like a model. When I want something serious, I don't want the person to be like that. I don't want the person to be fooling around. I want someone who's serious too. So finding someone who was financially secure, interested in a serious relationship, but also cute, it was really hard. So yeah, I dated 2 men who were quite rich. It just didn't work. I think the first one I dated for like a month or so, and the second one I dated for a little longer than that. It was maybe 2 months or 3 months in total because we met in different countries and we spent quite a lot of time together. So I think it didn't work for very different reasons, but money didn't really change anything. Of course, it was amazing and really nice to feel like you'll be safe and you'll be financially secure because that person has your back. And if you really need something, if you need to go to the doctor, if you suddenly find yourself in a difficult situation where only money can help you get out of this situation, it felt good to know that, okay, I can always count on this person. And so that's probably the positive side, that someone can always take care of you. On the emotional side or, the relationship side, it didn't really add anything to the relationship.
And one thing I learned about these people is that, like, no matter how much money you have, no matter how big you are, how famous you are, like, they will still end up stealing your charger and your lighter.
Money doesn't really make you a good or bad person. Money doesn't really build your personality. Maybe sometimes having been raised in a family with a lot of money can give you certain values. Maybe you understand the importance of money, or maybe you actually don't understand at all and it's the opposite, like you just waste money. As someone who comes from a middle to low class family, I have a special relationship to money. For some reason, I never really liked rich people, even before I was a model. Like, even before I even get to meet one rich person in my life.
And I don't like it. And I don't want to be around it. And I don't want... Oh my...
Where'd you go? Wait a second, Peggy!
I had this image of them from the movies or from TV, When you have a lot of money, you're not a good person. Like, money has a bad influence. I always had this feeling about those people for some reason. I guess, hanging out with them and meeting them made me a bit more aware of what it's really like. I think it did change my mind a bit, as in, I understand that everyone is different, and just because you have money or you were born in a wealthy family doesn't instantly turn you into that kind of person. You also have the possibility to grow and to change and to become who you want to be. You have the possibility to start your own business or say, okay, I'm not linked to my parents, I want to do my own thing. I think those people exist. I definitely met people who think that money can buy everything, even love, even girls. And in some cases it's true. I also met girls who were really obsessed with money and being taken care of and being treated like princesses. They were obsessed with this.
Money ain't everything. No.
But it is.
But it's not.
No, but it is.
But it's not.
But it is.
But it's not.
Okay.
Not a long time ago, I actually met a girl who told me about her relationships, and well, it was quite funny because a lot of things happened to her. Like it was kind of it was out of a drama. Everything she went through, it was really funny, but yeah, it wasn't my life, so I guess it was funny. I mean, she was really obsessed with money to the point that, you know, the man had to prove her he liked her by giving her gifts or by flying to see her in another country. It was always about like how much he spent for her and the amount of flowers she gets for her birthday, things like that. Some people are like that, girls or guys. Some people are looking for this type of relationship. I never was. So for me, when I dated someone who had money, it felt good, but it didn't really change my life. It didn't influence me to the point that I was like, oh my god, this man has everything, you know, he has the looks, he's nice, he loves me, and he has money, let's go. It's like my only chance in life to succeed and to have a good life, and this will change my life. I never thought about that. Of course, if you accept it and if you know, go all the way with that person, I think it can change your life. I mean, obviously your lifestyle will change, because if you have someone who say yes to everything you want, you can really upgrade your lifestyle and you can feel more secure. Your lifestyle will be very different for sure. I don't know, for me, it was always more about how I feel with the person in the present, if we share the same values, if we have fun together, if we have things in common. I was always focused on those things, and I can understand that it's reassuring for many people, especially models when they don't earn a lot of money, or models who left their country, they left everything to get a better life. I can understand how it must be comforting and reassuring. I think maybe I wasn't that poor or I wasn't that desperate to have this feeling, and so I was never really convinced or impressed by this lifestyle. I'm also a very bad liar. Like, you can tell when I'm unhappy. You can tell when I feel bad. If I felt unhappy with someone, if I felt disappointed or sad or angry, it's not like I can pretend to be always happy or always loving with someone that I obviously, you know, don't like. Maybe I should work on that to be able to be more successful in life and to get what I want. The priority has always been to be happy and to feel happy. Of course, money can buy happiness because the more you can pay, the more you have, the more options you have, the less worries you have. So maybe I'm just very illogical and too sentimental. I don't know. I don't think there's a right way or wrong way. I think in the end it's just about making your own decision and feeling proud and glad that you made those decisions. I think that's all that matters in the end. Thank you for watching this video. I hope it was interesting and fun. I'd love to know your opinion about this. Like, have you dated rich people? Have you hang out with rich people? Are you rich yourself? Like, how do you feel about relationships? Is it hard to find someone? I'm very curious to know, and I would love to discuss this with you in the comments. If you like this video, please don't forget to like it and subscribe, and I see you very soon. Bye!